I'm an anxious person anyway, so having a narcissist in my life made my anxiety 100 times worse. That is what people will often say if they have an anxiety anyway. And let's face it, we all do. It's part of survival. We can all be anxious about things. Otherwise, we'd all just be walking in the middle of the road and getting run over. So we have to be moderately anxious about things. But when the anxiety is in somebody's character, and it's not unusual, having a narcissist in your life will make things just so much worse. I'm Dr. Jane, this is Knowing Narcissism, and in this video I wanted to talk about specifically social anxiety and how having a narcissist anywhere near you can make that so much worse. Before we start, if I could ask you to subscribe. I kind of loathe to do this, but it just gets these videos out to so many more people. YouTube takes notice of what you do. So if we could please do that, then it just gets these videos out for so many more people to get the help and advice that they need. So thank you for that. So social anxiety, let's just kind of think about that for a second. What is social anxiety? It's that sense of being, it's very basic in its rawest forms. It's that sense of being negatively judged and then rejected. And it goes way back until our kind of, formative, paleo selves, if you like. If we are rejected from the tribe, then we don't survive. And that's kind of where the core of social anxiety comes from. It's a really interesting concept. And when you break it down to its very basics, and I've done this obviously many, many times with people, they have a better understanding for it, rather than just that rush of adrenaline that happens. And they then get paralysed and they can't do the thing that they might want to do. Now, social anxiety could be just walking down the street. It could be meeting a group of people. It could be giving a presentation at school, at university, at work or something. But they are socially anxious. And I'll come on to some little tips about what you can do about the social anxiety later on in the video. But social anxiety and narcissism, and remember, narcissists go through their entire life looking for people to give them narcissistic feed, which is to feel special, unique, validated, admired, just the best person in the world. And if they come across somebody that is a little bit anxious or a lot anxious, and their mental health might not be in the best place, the narcissist, unlike nice regular people that would think, no, we're not going to put anything on that person because they're not in a brilliant place at the moment. We'll just wait and we'll support them, etc., etc. The narcissist will just go straight in there and go, what can I get from you? You're already vulnerable. What more can I get from you? And the social anxiety, it's interesting. There's an interesting parallel between social anxiety and narcissism, because they kind of come from sort of like the core beliefs that you have about yourself, about the fearing of the negative judgment, that you're not good enough. Now, I want to kind of talk about where this comes from the narcissist, so you get a proper understanding with what you're dealing with. Remember, you're dealing with people that don't think how you think. And I'm sorry to say this, will never think how you think, no matter what you ask them to do, no matter what boundaries you try and put on them. The boundaries are for you, remember, not for them. They will not change the way that they think and they behave, because that's just what narcissists are. It's a characteristic, it's a personality. So it comes from the core belief of them believing that they're not good enough. So how do I feel good enough? The simplest way, I make you feel bad. And it's like, it's like scales, isn't it? I need my fill of feeling better about myself temporarily, because it only lasts in nanoseconds as far as the narcissist is concerned. So what can I do? I can elevate myself at your expense. And if I can squash you down even further and capitalise on your social anxiety, that is even better for me. That's what narcissists will do. They will squash people down to make themselves feel better. They'll tread on their heads. You can think about it as a classic work situation. A narcissist is very enthusiastic about getting to the top of the work tree. Now, they may not have the talents and the skills that they need. And I'm sure I can think of plenty of people that have got into an elevated and a senior position. Remember, I used to work for the NHS, so I saw this a lot. They used to get in a senior position but they were no good at it. But what they did was they would just squash and use other people to get to that position. This is a really common trait of the narcissist. And why they're doing it is because they have that massive insecurity, like, a bag that they carry around with them. And sometimes it can be ignored because they're feeling good and they've used people and they've manipulated situations, and that bag gets it's not so heavy, but it's always there. And it's a bag of insecurity and not feeling good enough. And this is where, strangely enough, the parallels with the socially anxious person comes in, because they're almost coming from the same direction of that sense of, I'm just not good enough, and I'm unworthy, and I'm unlovable, and past life experiences are the sort of thing that have led to me believing that. Whereas you, as the socially anxious person, will have the skills and can develop the skills to move beyond that. Yes, the anxiety always might be there to some point, and you don't feel comfortable in any, in certain situations. That's perfectly okay. But you can develop and take on the skills and the experience and whatever it is you need to do to be able to move on from that and carry on with your life. Whereas the narcissist is completely stuck. They don't have the understanding that they can develop skills because, again, it's all part of their characteristics and their personality. So, and they see other people being able to get on with their lives, be it that they're socially anxious or generally anxious or whatever it is. And they hate that. Again, remember, one of the core tenets of a narcissist is that they are jealous of other people's success. So what do? They grab their socially anxious person and they, it's like, you could sort of like say it's like a cat with a mouse. It becomes their you become their temporary plaything. How bad can I make it for you? And your social anxiety is rising and rising, and my sense of superiority is rising and rising above your socially anxiousness. How long can this go on? They will do all sorts of things. They're isolators, so they'll take you away. So if it's a friendship situation, they will take you away from the people that might be a little bit more grounded and a bit more supportive. They will try and engage with you a situation where, now I've had this where they'll data gather stuff, saying it's a social situation, group of friends, and, they'll get you alone and they'll say, oh, so-and-so, I'm not too sure about them. We've tried to do things and they're always late. We'll just use that as an example. And you as the, person that's being dragged in there with the narcissist might go, oh, yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, they're always a little bit late. And then next thing you know, they've gone behind your back and they're telling that person what an awful thing that you're saying about them. That is so typical narcissist. They will data gather and they will take anything that they think will be a weapon against you. And again, that kind of is to isolate you from the group. It goes back to real basic survival instincts. A lot of behaviour goes back to that. So they will try and get you rejected. I've had situations where you've had women that have, there's one particular case that I've talked about when I used to do true crime stuff. And the narcissist in her life convinced her flatmates that she was talking about them behind their back. She was just saying terrible things about them. And they kind of said, oh, well, we don't think this is a good fit. And she ended up just kind of moving to another a shared accommodation with one other person, and the narcissist knew where she was because he was the one that had said, oh, I'll find you somewhere. This is purely on the strength of being able to then harass her, torment her, and it was just awful. But it's that kind of playing on that person's fear of rejection and humiliation from the group, but then the narcissist does that, and I'm not going to go into what happened in that situation because it's just dreadful, but they will try and manipulate and isolate you. So, social anxiety. What you can do, this is what I wanted to talk about when it comes to social anxiety, and this is just not just about the narcissist. Recognise the narcissist, you're educating yourself, you're watching videos like this, so you're educating yourself. So, I'm really pleased that you're here. And whilst I'm here, don't forget to like and subscribe and all the stuff that the YouTube likes you to do, and I like you to do as well. I'm really grateful. I'm so grateful for anybody that watches these videos and says something, presses the like button, or just watches the videos. So just never know that I'm not grateful, because I always am. So what can you do about social anxiety? I want to give you some general tips about social anxiety. Remember where it's come from. It's come from that fear of rejection. If I put myself out there, people might negatively judge me and then reject me. It's as basic as that. But what can you do about it when the anxiety takes over? The adrenaline is rushing through your body. Your throat's gone dry, your palms have gone sweaty, you don't know what you're doing. Breathe is the best technique for any type of anxiety. Now, when we do the breathing, breathe from the stomach, breathe in, really nice. And people have kind of, found apps that they found useful, but always breathe from here, don't breathe from here. Nice, deep breaths. But the important thing that goes with that, while you're breathing, make sure you drop those shoulders. Because if we get anxious, we're all up here, aren't we? But make sure you drop those shoulders and breathe gently. And it's amazing what it will do to the adrenaline. It will just kind of say, no, whatever it is that you were fearing, because we're back to our paleo selves, remember, whatever it is that you were fearing is not going to happen. So you can calm down, the rest of the body can calm down. And then you get a clarity of thought. And the thing that you need to deal with that's made you anxious in the first place, say it was a presentation, you can then look at it and you can think, okay, do I need support for that? I can make my presentation, but can I have my, work buddy or something just ready to come on and help me with it? That I've had that happen so many times, where people have got anxious about a really important presentation at work, and then I've said, can you have somebody there that you could just call on if you needed to? And I can absolutely tell you that everybody has said, yeah, I've had that person, they were waiting, that they knew what they'd have to come on and just we do it as a duo or something. I didn't need them. Just knowing that they were there was just absolutely brilliant. So here are a few tips. Start small. Don't kind of think that you're going to get over your social anxiety in a heartbeat, but start small. Start kind of challenging yourself. That's a really important thing. When you listen to that negative, sort of like inner voice that says you can't do that, you didn't do it last time, and we've got the narcissists in our life that have really kind of confirmed that to you. Start small and start just being kind to yourself. Just be nice to yourself and actually go, I'm going to give it a go. What's the worst that can happen? I might not do it, but at least I am getting my skills and my experience, so the next time I can go a little further. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this has been useful for you. If I could ask you to like, subscribe and all that would just be brilliant. And please do put some comments below. Put stuff out there that's worked for you when it comes to not only just social anxiety, but social anxiety with a narcissist around, because social anxiety is bad enough, but social anxiety with a narcissist in your life is like social anxiety on speed with bells and whistles attached to it.